Hi everybody, so today we're going to have a look at the California Ocean behind me here. We're going to go through the control panel because I had a few of you comment on how that works. So let's get started. First off, how do you turn it on? Just give the button a press. So first thing to point out is obviously your battery levels that's here. So this is the battery symbol. So it's telling us at the moment that it's got 53 hours and 20 minutes of power that's in there. Now that power, we've talked about this before, but that's an estimation based on what's currently on at the moment in the vehicle. So this vehicle is in the showroom. It's got 1, 2, 3 lights on, something like that. So with the battery level as it is, it's not full at the moment, but with the battery level that it is, we'd expect to get 53 hours. I've said this before, you turn the fridge on, anything like that, it's going to drop right down. But again, you know, with the fridge, for example, I've said this, if it's dropped right down because you put it on high to get things cold, as soon as you bring the settings back down because it's chilled, for example, that will then go back up. So it goes up and down depending on where you are, and it gives you a very good indication of what you've got left in your batteries. Also in here as well then, so we've got our wastewater, which is here, which shows how much waste we've got in our tanks. Our cold water supply at the back. So we've got our roof open that's in here. So there's 3 actual screens as we go through, and they're signified by the bottom bit here. The blue marker is, so we switch one way because of our second screen and back off to our third screen. And if you do want to turn the screen off without letting it go off, you can just click the off screen button there and that will come back on. So let's take you through each of these screens then now. So if we go to the next screen here, so we've got refrigeration. We'll go into these in a bit more detail in a second, but we've got refrigeration, pop-up roof, that's how we activate the roof up and down, our auxiliary heater, which is our independent heater for the vehicle, camping mode, which we've done a separate video on that, the max charge button, we'll talk about that in a minute, and the level, and the level one is to gives you like a setting so you can see how level the vehicle is when you're parking up. And then finally on the last one on here, we've got alarm clock, a timer setting, lights, so we can turn lights off inside the vehicle through one head-up display, settings, and again that screen off. So let's have a little bit more detail about what's actually in each of those, and we'll start again from the refrigeration side here. So refrigeration box, you click any of these, press them, then you'll go into the individual settings. And to turn the fridge box on, you just click the button that's on there, and you'll get a little light that comes up here that's telling you that that is on. Currently set to the maximum setting. That's on here. I wouldn't ever put it on the maximum setting. I'd probably put it on a 3 or a 4, and then once it's cooled down, etc., you could even put it down to 1 and just keep it ticking over once it gets cold. So you also have got a function as well to actually tell it when to start. With the pop-up roof, nice and easy one that's on here, but I will show one at the moment. We haven't got the keys for the vehicle at the moment. I'm going to go and get those in a minute, but if you press it and you haven't got the key, please switch on ignition. So there are certain functions within this head-up display that you do need the keys to operate them. And those are things like changing heater settings, not the actual heat itself, but say for example to switch it from heating to ventilation and things like that. You do need the keys actually to do that, and the pop-up roof is one of those things. You don't need the engine on, you just need the ignition turned over. So pop-up roof, press the button, keys are rigged now, ignition is on, so we've got this screen comes up now. Got open, close that's in there, and you'll see obviously you've got the button here. The button's not for turning, the button is for giving it a press. So if we want to open it, it's already open. If we want to close it, for example, press the button, roof comes down, it's on there, press open, telling us to check the space in the roof, etc., which we've done, and go open and put it back up again. As easy as that on the pop-up roof. That's all that you're doing, but as I said, you've got to have the keys in the ignition, so I'll come back off there. And then obviously I talked about the heater as well. The heater's another one that's in there. So the heater, to work it, you don't need the keys in the ignition unless you're changing things like the operation mode from ventilate to auxiliary heater, for example, which is the one that you wanted on, that's there. Apply your settings. Put a link to how this all works. We've done ones on these modes. We've got heat immediately, your heat continuously, but your settings one, as I said, that's the one you need the keys in for, and you can change that for when it comes on and off. That's in there as well. So come out from on there. So camping mode, very easily. Camping mode, you just press, and then camping mode, you can activate all these different lighting areas that's on here. And to activate camping mode, you just click activate camping mode. I've done a separate video on camping mode, so I'm not going to go through the rest of this that's in here. But camping mode is very good when you're actually on a campsite and you're not going anywhere else. because it stops your lights coming on and off and things like that when you're coming in and out of the vehicle. So the max charge function, the button that's on here. So how the max charge works is that will boost your battery levels that's in the vehicle. Only works when the engine's running for obvious reasons. And what essentially that is doing is, so if the engine's running on tick over, your revs, or the way that the engine is running at that time, for example, and it's turning over, it won't actually be providing much of a charge, if any charge at all, to the batteries. So the max charge, what that does is it raises that revs that's on the vehicle, so the alternator kicks in, so it then starts powering and charging those batteries while you are stationary. So that's kind of like an emergency get out mode that's in there as well. Used it. It's not always worked on the Ocean, so I'm going to say this now, depending on what age of Ocean you've got, might not actually work at all. So on the early Oceans, when this was brought out, this actually didn't do anything that was on there. It was something that was coming later. It just won't work on some of the new ones which are coming out now. That function is available. Things like Grand California, it's been on those all the time. And we've used that ourselves at campervan and places like that. It's quite good. Run it for 10 minutes, keep it on max charge, and it just charges the batteries back up. So with these things, you don't use it a lot because whenever you drive, you're charging your batteries anyway. But these are if you're really, really low and you're somewhere where you can't just jump out, etc. It's on there. You could just turn the engine over, give the engine a run. Next up is the lever. We've done a separate video. We'll put a link up that for you to have a look at and see how all that works, which is nice and easy. And then onto our second page that's on here as well. These are very, very simple ones, but alarm clock, you can imagine you can set your alarm that's in there nice and easy. Timer, again, you can put a timer on. I'm not going to go through these, it's fairly self-explanatory. Lights, this is the light, so you can switch off every light that's in the vehicle and when you want them to actually come up in the lighting area, and it'll show you where all the ones that are on, and you can turn them off just by clicking them, for example. So it's a bit like a disco going on inside the vehicle now. But again, I tend to use this mainly if I want to switch everything off in one go. Alternatively, I just actually press the buttons on the actual lights anyway. And then finally, settings. This is what allows you to change it to things like the actual temperature, whether it's in Celsius or Fahrenheit, your clock, whether it's in the 24-hour that's in there, and you can scroll these up. Things like, for example, brightness that's on here. And then finally that's in there as well is restore factory settings. So if, for example, you had a problem with the head-up unit that's in there, for example, and you wanted to wipe everything out of that, you could click on restore factory settings, and then that will take you through and it'll erase all the data that's in there. So things like, for example, if you've got your alarm set and things like that, and you just want to stop all that and turn everything off and start afresh, that's the way to go, and just click on that. Well, that's it for today. Hope you've enjoyed our video looking at the control panel in the California Ocean behind us. And if you have, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. If you don't subscribe, please subscribe. There's lots more videos coming in 2024, and we'll see you next time.